Ken Trahan with Lenny Vangilder. It's our first NBC Bank Weekend Review, brought to you by First NBC Bank, with 32 locations throughout the greater New Orleans area and beyond, including the newest location on Poydras Street in New Orleans. That's First NBC Bank, proud sponsor of SportsNola.com. Well, the Saints redeemed themselves in a huge way, winning a huge game in huge fashion, 31-13 over Carolina, and the final margin really didn't reflect the dominance of the Saints, who looked like a completely different team than the one that played in Seattle last Monday night.
And it would be easy to say, well, the Saints were on the road Monday and the Saints were at home Sunday, and it's a home away thing, and a lot of people, especially around the country, still want to latch on to that. I think it's more than that. I think it's about schemes. I think it's about how these two teams matched up and how maybe the Saints and the Seahawks match up. I think it's more about matchups than it is about just a home away situation. Now, 2 weeks from now, may get proven totally wrong when the Saints go to Charlotte, but the fact of the matter is the Saints are still in control of their situation in regards to the 2 seed and a first-round bye. It's very simple. You win 2 of the next 3 games, and there it is. Or just win the Carolina game, and there it is. So that's what's at stake.
Here, the obvious for the Saints, and the best remedy by far, or prescription if you will, is to win the next 2, because that way then you can rest veterans when you play Tampa Bay and essentially have 2 weeks off to get healed up and prepared for the postseason after a bye to play a home game.
Yeah, and I tell you, the other encouraging thing that came out of Sunday, besides that, is the fact that Seattle went to San Francisco and got beat. And I think what could very well happen in these playoffs, and I mean, granted, some things can change between now and 3 weeks from now, but if San Francisco and Carolina end up being the wild cards, all right, and whoever wins the NFC North and the NFC East are at home in that first round, you've got to believe that San Francisco and Carolina both stand a very good chance of winning on the road, to where one of those 2 teams, depending on how the seeds fall, is going to end up going to Seattle for the second round. And who knows, maybe someone else can go do what the Saints couldn't do a week ago today, win in Seattle. And then if the Saints can do what they need to do, the NFC Championship game ends up in New Orleans. But we're putting the cart way before the horse.
Yep. But bottom line is they took care of business, won their 10th game, and they're in prime position now to win the NFC South as a result. And it's on to St. Louis to play the Rams next weekend. Rams got whipped by Arizona yesterday. But every week is different in the NFL, as the Saints discovered in 2011 when they lost to a winless Rams team in St. Louis during a season coming off of a Super Bowl championship for New Orleans. The New Orleans Pelicans are back in action on Wednesday night against Detroit at home, then Memphis on Friday night, and they've got a little mini losing streak right now, and lost a game to Dallas they could have won, lost a game to Oklahoma City they really couldn't have won.
Yeah, Oklahoma City is one of the elite teams in the league, and it's a team that gave New Orleans problems last year with matchups, and maybe it was a little bit more competitive Friday night than some of those games a year ago were, when Oklahoma City was just dominant in 3 of the 4 games that they played last year. But still in all, this is a team that's really just got to kind of bide its time a little bit until Anthony Davis can get healthy. Hopefully the Tyreek Evans situation not too serious, and and it is just a sprain, and hopefully he's back on the floor in short order. The 5-day rest probably coming at a good time for this team.
When it comes to bowl games, everything's set now. The Advocare V100 bowl game in Shreveport, of course, is Arizona and Boston College. The R&L Carriers New Orleans Bowl with Tulane and Louisiana Lafayette. LSU is going to the Outback Bowl. The Tigers will play Iowa in Tampa on New Year's Day. And the All-State Sugar Bowl, 2 of the storied programs in the history of the United States, will pit Alabama against Oklahoma. And that's a good matchup for the Sugar Bowl, folks. I know they're happy, Lenny. And, of course, that's a 2-touchdown favorite or better Alabama team right now.
Yeah, and, I think a lot of people out there are saying, well, why didn't the Sugar Bowl go get Oregon instead of Oklahoma? One thing, 2 things you got to remember in this. This is a business. Beginning next year, well, actually beginning 2 years from now, but the relationship begins next year, the Sugar Bowl will be tied in on both ends with the SEC and the Big 12, and that deal is in place. The other thing is the Sugar Bowl is in the business of selling tickets. And where are you most likely to sell tickets? From Oregon or from Oklahoma? Oklahoma's a lot closer and a lot more drivable than Oregon. So at the end of the day, the Sugar Bowl wants to see butts and seats, and that's been part of the challenge in this whole BCS era, is you've got one game that means everything and a lot of other games that are a notch below that. And so you have to make sure you do everything in your power to be able to sell tickets.
Not a sexy matchup. LSU, Iowa is not going to sell nationally. And this becomes all about if they want to be there and they want to play. Because if they do, I think they're better than Iowa.
I think so as well. And, we're going to see, it's been one of the ongoing storylines of New Year's Day every year is you've got those SEC Big Ten matchups, and more times than not, the SEC team exerts its will over the Big Ten. Will that be the case in Tampa and Orlando and Jacksonville with those matchups? We'll see. And you're right. The team, in more cases than not, the team that has something to prove and really wants to be there the most is the team that is the most successful in those bowl games.
And then congratulations to Southern for winning the SWAC championship in a thrilling game as they beat Jackson State in a rematch game in Houston. That was an absolute thriller and a great win for Southern.
Yeah, and I saw the regular season meeting between those two in Baton Rouge, and that was a terrific game as well. And this Southern team got better and better as the year went along. These were clearly the two best teams in the SWAC. And congratulations to Dawson Odoms and Southern. They have turned this around very quickly in just a little more than a year's time up in Baton Rouge.
Ron Roberts in Southeastern Louisiana on to the quarterfinals in the national tournament as we speak with a big come-from-behind win over Sam Houston State in yet another rematch game.
Yep, and I tell you, it's hard to win rematches out there. It's just we've seen it on a lot of levels, and they were down to it there, late in the game, no timeouts left, had to drive the length of the field, and they did it in less than a minute. So congratulations on all fronts there. Southeastern gets another home game this weekend, I believe New Hampshire. So it's another challenge coming. Everyone else now in the Southland is out. McNeese got upset at home, so it's it's up to Southeastern to carry that Southland flag.
And last but not least, the high school championships, and it's spread over 3 days, 9 championships beginning Thursday. The interest here locally clearly is on Thursday for the most part, and then on Saturday afternoon, Archbishop Hannon, John Curtis, and Archbishop Rommel all playing for championships on Thursday, and then a local matchup of Edna Carr and East Jefferson Saturday afternoon at 4. Lenny, these will be very interesting matchups. I hope the Thursday dates don't hurt the attendance. I suspect it will. Friday's going to be very tough to draw with the teams involved. Saturday, a chance for big crowds later in the day.
Absolutely. I think you assessed it perfectly in that regard. It'll be interesting to see what those matchups of the teams that perennially would draw the best playing on Thursday. But I tell you what, that Saturday matchup at 4 o'clock, you mentioned the all-local matchup, East Jefferson and Carr. Congratulations to Nick Saltaformaggio. What a terrific win over the number 1 seed Neville, rallying in the fourth quarter and just really dominating that football game in the fourth quarter to come back, go down, get to the 1-yard line, 2 seconds left, kick a field goal on the last play of the game to win. First time for those guys to get to the Dome, and a terrific story there.
We'll have full coverage at sportsnola.com of all the high school championships with previews this week as well. We already have one on Rummel with Bill Bumgarner, so stay tuned. Lenny, it's always a pleasure. Thanks. Have a great week.
Yeah, it'll be a great week this week. So.
All right, that's our First NBC Bank Weekend Review, brought to you by First NBC Bank with 32 locations throughout the greater New Orleans area and beyond. That's First NBC Bank, proud sponsor of sportsnola.com. For Lenny, I'm Kenny. Have a great week, and God bless.